Cameron, Craig.
Cameron.
So you've got some questions for me?
Yeah. This season I've been inspired by you as a local boy doing well and Brian Paton because of his playing style. Also Henrik Lundqvist and Marc-Andre Fleury from the NHL. When you were younger, what local people inspired you and what NHLers inspired you?
Well, when I was younger, when I was growing up, I started as a player, so I didn't always look at players when I was growing up. When I was kind of coming into, when I was getting older and stuff like that, there's people like Steve Briere. He was the sort of person that I kind of looked up to. He was obviously the Flyers goalie for a number of years, and actually ended up going out to Canada with Steve and sort of going to his training camps and stuff like that. So I kind of looked up to him as a goalie and kind of tried to play in his kind of style, even though he was a smaller goalie and I was a lot bigger than Steve. You know, I did try and play similar to him. In terms of goalies in the NHL, I've always really liked Martin Brodeur. He's always been my sort of ideal goalie. He doesn't play. I don't play anything like him. I love his style. It's quite hard style to kind of play like. You know, he's got a kind of totally different style from everyone else. So I don't play like him, but I kind of try and do something similar to what Brian does. You know, he's got a really good style and I play similar to him.
My biggest achievement to date was making the Scotland under-11 team after only playing for a year and also getting Players Player Award in my first season in net. What were your biggest personal achievements when you were younger?
Well, first of all, congratulations for getting into the Scotland team. It's a huge feat. When I was younger, I played for Scotland as well. It was a great thing. Most of the things, the biggest thing was probably being asked to go out to Canada by Steve and sort of go to his training camp, stuff like that. Obviously, I was only 14 at the time when I first went over there, and it's probably one of the bigger things, you know, being able to go across there. And you know, there's a lot of older goalies that are now, you know, in big leagues and things like that. That it was great to play with them, and actually stay out there and sort of do the whole hockey lifestyle out there. It's probably one of the bigger things for me.
When I'm not training, which I am a lot of the time, I'm taping my stick and watching goal training videos. Have you got any hobbies away from ice hockey?
Away from ice hockey, well, just now I'm playing a lot of ice hockey. Obviously, I'm training with Flyers and playing every so often. Obviously, got the Kirkcaldy Kestrels as well. When I'm not there, obviously I work during the day, but after work I'm at the gym all the time. You know, I'm quite an avid gym goer, so I've been for the last few years. So generally, if I'm not playing ice hockey, I'm in the gym or relaxing.
How did you feel when you got the call from Todd to say you were going to Nottingham, especially after you'd just come back after a bad concussion, only then to end up playing when Blair got hurt? It must have been quite nerve-wracking. What were your memories of that day?
Well, yeah, it was great. Obviously, I train every week with the Flyers, and I never expect to get any sort of playing time or even on the bench. You know, it's every time I have been called up, especially for the double header there. It's a great experience. You know, not only not even thinking I'm going to get on the ice, it's a great thing to just be around the team, and you know, there's great experience from that. Speaking to Brian and a lot of the other guys in the team, there's a good atmosphere about it. Obviously, on the Sunday when I got when I was playing. We're playing Nottingham and Blair got injured. It was I didn't have much time to react to the situation. I had to just kind of get myself in the zone and get straight on there. I don't remember much at all. You know, it's one of these ice rinks where you skate on ice and the fans just seem to be on top of you. You've just kind of got to clear everything out of your head and just try and get yourself in the game. Being my first elite league game, it was quite nerve-wracking. Yeah, it took me really until the third period to get really settled, and you know, I done not too bad.
What would you say the main difference are between playing SNL with the Kestrels and Elite League with the Flyers?
Well, there's a big difference. You know, there's a big jump from SNL to Elite League. You know, down south there's a lot. You know, a lot of steps going up to from you know your English leagues all the way up to Elite League. Where SNL to Elite League is a huge jump. The main difference is, especially for being a goalie anyway, is the fact that you've got to react a lot faster. You've got to really read the game. You know, it's not a case of you know what's going to happen. You know, you've really got to think about it. There's a lot of skilled guys out there. You know, when I did play against Nottingham, you know, there's a lot of guys that either playing NHL or really high-end hockey before, and you've really got to try and read what they're going to do. You know, and react really fast. It's one thing Brian had said to me when we spoke during the period after I was in, that you've got to react a lot faster. You know, the minute you make a save, you've got to be up and ready for the next one. So,
What do you do to keep fit during the off season? Any hockey camps, and if so, can you take me with you?
Well, yeah, that's one thing I do. I usually go to the gym. I usually change my training style up a lot. I try and do a lot more sort of cardio based sort of stuff and a lot of sort of weight training. Obviously during the season you can't do too much weight training in case of injury, but usually I change my training style a lot, do a lot more sort of cardio based sort of things. I do go to camps. I've not been for a while. I used to, as I said before, I used to go to Steve Brear's camp out in Canada. This year, I think we were going to Czech, training out there. So I'm sure you'd be more than welcome to come with me.
Here's something I found out when I was researching this. You have a higher save percentage than Blair Daly, Chris Whitley, and get this, Garrett Zemler. That's bound to be a good feeling, isn't it?
I didn't know that, but yeah, if in the elite league anyway, I've only had half a game, so it's obviously the stats aren't too obvious, but yeah, I'm sure if I was to play every game, I wouldn't be in the same position. So these guys are all league ahead of me. So
you never know. My teachers ask me what I want to be when I grow up. I tell them I'm hopefully going to be an NHL goalie. What did you used to tell your teachers?
When I was younger, I never actually ever thought too much about playing professional hockey. I did, obviously, being a Flyers fan for all the years, I did always want to play for the Flyers, but when I was younger, because my uncle was a pharmacist, I always wanted to be like a doctor or something like that when I was younger, and it's always changed, and I've ended up in the world of computers as my daytime job, but it's not something I've ever said as NHL.
What is the worst thing about being a goalie, and how do you feel if you're letting a goal?
The worst thing about being a goalie is probably, apart from the obvious getting pucks shot at you at high speeds, is the fact that if you have a bad game, it's noticed. You know, you have a bad game, you let a few goals in that maybe in previous games you would have saved. You know, you feel that, you know, you feel a bit down about yourself, and you feel like, oh, maybe I should have got that. And obviously your teammates, you know, although they're meant to support you and stuff like that, sometimes they can be a bit, you know, oh, you should have had that or whatever. And it's a case of just being able to try and rise above that and get, you know, to the next stage and try and play better, you know. When you let a goal in, it can be, depends how the goal is. If it's a bad goal, then obviously I try and not put my head down, but you know, it's one of these things, you've just got to try and sort of think, right, it's a goal, who cares? You've got to, you know, get your head back in the game and keep on playing.
My mum and dad have given me a lot of support, but keep saying they're skin. Do you think they're probably skin, or do you think it's just a trick? And do you think it's expensive to be a goalie? Well,
I'm sure they are skinty with you being a goalie. You know, it's it's one of these things. People don't really realise how much it costs to be a goalie. You know, from anything just from your pads to your helmet. You know, it's a very expensive sport anyway without having to be a goalie. So I'm sure your parents are very skinty, and I'd advise you stick close with them as far as you can go to get all your kit for free.
Push as much money as you can.
Yeah.
Can you tell me something about yourself that will quite shock me? Or?
Something that would shock you? Not sure exactly. If it shock you, obviously you probably didn't know before, but when I was younger, obviously I started as a defenseman. I always wanted to be a goalie.
What the same with me?
Yeah, I started off when I was 5. I started off skating when I was 1. Like, I got my mum to put me on the ice when I was actually 1 year old. So when I wasn't allowed to play ice hockey until I was 5. I was a player. I'm always trying to keep me as a player until eventually the club said, "Oh, we'll give you kit if you become a goalie." So that's when I become a goalie. So I've not always wanted to be a goalie, but here I am.
What's your most embarrassing secret? Can you tell me? Because it's only us here.
Most embarrassing secret? I'm sure we don't want to hear stuff, things like that. One probably embarrassing secret I can maybe tell you. One thing when we've had a few beers or whatever like that I do tend to have a go and sing stuff. Bit embarrassing, but you know, something, everyone has a bit of an embarrassing thing.
What's your favourite restaurant to go to?
A restaurant? Probably somewhere like a steakhouse. Really love steak. So yeah, probably some sort of American sort of place that sells sort of steak and ribs and things like that.
A lot of imports seem to like country and western music. Who's your favourite singer?
Well, I've always been told I have the worst music sense ever. I don't really listen to a certain person over and over again. you know, when I'm playing hockey, I try and listen to things. I usually listen to things like Nickelback and things like that to try and get myself in the zone. Outside hockey, just kind of listen to everything really. I've not really got one set sort of genre of music I listen to.
Can you spill the beans about any of your teammates in the Kestrels or even the Flyers?
I could probably tell you more about the Kestrels and the Flyers. It's a hard one. Probably, there's nothing too much, nothing probably I can share over there.
One last question. You have a pretty girlfriend. Is that because you're a goalie or just because you're a genuinely nice guy?
Well, I would say it was because I'm a nice guy. I get on well with her and whatnot, and yeah, I wouldn't say it's nothing to do with me playing hockey or like that. You know, I met her outside of hockey, so it's nothing to do with hockey at all. Obviously, we both share the love for hockey, but it's nothing to do with hockey. It's say it's because I'm a nice guy.
Thank you.
No, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Well, I like him as a person, but I really do like watching him if he ever gets on at his Kestrels matches a lot. Yeah, really encourages me, really quite motivates me and helps me if I've got any problems outside hockey or inside it.
Good. And the questions you asked, what was your favourite answer?
Probably the first one when he told me he was an outfield player because I never knew that. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. First time I've done anything like this, so I enjoyed it.